What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome into Sactown Sports Kings recap. My name is Chris Watkins, coming to you live after the Sacramento Kings take down the Indiana Pacers in Indiana by a score of 133-122. Big performance from Domantas Sabonis, who gets the All-Star snubbing yesterday. You had to know him and De'Aaron were going to come with a little bit extra juice tonight. Of course, Sabonis already has a ton of emotions going into play Atlanta, or I'm sorry, to go play in Indiana, obviously, where he used to call home for a couple years there. And Tyrese Haliburton, we did get to see Tyrese Haliburton and De'Aaron Fox finally square off for the first time this season. Pretty quiet. It was a pretty relatively quiet night for Tyrese and De'Aaron. Kind of the same. Nothing too crazy. Nothing out of the ordinary for De'Aaron. He had a good game, but definitely nothing crazy to me. As you can see here, I think Domantas Sabonis had the biggest impact for Sacramento tonight, and it was great to see. It was really good to see them, and specifically him have just a little bit. Wouldn't say tonight. I mean, Katie actually, funny enough, said it at the end of the broadcast there. It really wasn't anything different than what we see every single night from Domantas Sabonis, but it was good to see him put together a big performance after that snubbing. And, you kind of had to expect that was the route that the Kings were going to go when you learned that Miles Turner and Jalen Smith, who had a really good game for Indiana yesterday, when you learned that those guys were sitting, you kind of figured that this was going to be a big Domantas Sabonis night. He now has, I believe, is it 30? I believe it's 30 consecutive double-doubles, which is one shy of tying a franchise. Yes, franchise as in including Rochester, including Cincinnati, a franchise record held by, of course, Oscar Robertson. 31 consecutive double-doubles for the Big O. Sabonis sitting on 30 now, and he will get a chance at it tomorrow. Who I'm not sure if Nikola Vucevic is healthy for Chicago. I think he is. So it might be a bit of a tough matchup. But, after we've seen Sabonis dominate even tough matchups. So shouldn't be much of an issue there. And yeah, absolutely, Manny. I'm seeing this right here. De'Aaron Fox, this is really where he shined. I feel like I should have had him in this, but I thought tonight was really about the guys who weren't big names. I have Sabonis as his number one because I just thought he was a dominant force tonight. De'Aaron's 6 steals tonight is incredible. I'm pretty sure that's tied for his career high in steals. He was incredibly active on the defensive end. And that's really how he showed his all-star prowess tonight. Honestly, he was super active, just really handsy. The Kings forced Indy into 20 plus deflections. I don't know if they ended right on 20, but the turnovers that they forced Indiana into tonight definitely won the game for the Kings. 22 turnovers for Indiana, and the Kings got 31 points off of those turnovers, which is really, really efficient. So, and that pretty much wins the game. I mean, when you win by 11 points, they outscored Indiana by 13 in second chance points or points. I'm sorry, points off of turnovers. And that's pretty much the game. So, it was huge for the Kings to really I thought it was their best defensive effort. I don't think just because they had 15 steals, which is incredible for this team. I don't think that might be a season high for them in steals as well. That 100%. I felt like in terms of effort, in terms of scrappiness, in terms of getting deflections and just being scrappy on the defensive end, I think tonight was probably their best showing, or at least the best that I've seen in a while from these guys. Yeah, Dwayne, it definitely looked like they after that first quarter, which, by the way, was anybody else nervous after that first quarter? All I was thinking was, oh my goodness, this is it's happening again. TJ McConnell is going to kill us again. And Tyrese hasn't even stepped on the floor. Tyrese didn't step on the floor until the second quarter. He played the entire second quarter, which I thought was interesting. but yeah, I mean, they really that was the best that they looked all game was in that first quarter. They was running the show. I mean, I think that they're still kind of working Tyrese back in. It was kind of weird tonight. He wasn't didn't seem like he was on the ball as much as what he usually is. So I don't know if that just has to do with them trying to slowly work him back in. But also tonight on Pascal Siakam, I didn't think Pascal Siakam really was that effective. I don't know what he ended up tonight with in terms of his stats, but didn't really feel like there was another all NBA guy out there. So that's definitely just interesting to see. Obviously, the Kings were heavily involved in the Pascal Siakam trade saga, and I don't think tonight was his best showing at all. He's had some good performances for Indiana, but just I feel like if the Kings would have made a trade for Pascal and he had, let me see what he had tonight. I guess he was 10 of 15. Maybe I'm sleeping. It just felt quiet to me. 10 of 15 from the field. I didn't feel that from Pascal. 22 points, 6 boards, 2 steals, 2 assists. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention to the right things. He had 5 turnovers. Yeah, I mean, I will admit I was a little bit distracted watching today's game. I had to do some work for getting ready for Super Bowl week. Me and Alan Stiles will be out on Radio Row. So I had to get some things prepped while I was watching the game. So I guess apparently I missed all the Pascal Siakam possessions. I knew he obviously was taking some shots, but I didn't think he was that efficient. It did not feel like he was 10 of 15. I know he got to the rim a couple different times as he kind of always does. But it just didn't, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I just didn't feel like Pascal really had that big of an impact. Yeah, to me, Benedict Mathurin was the guy that I really felt tonight. What did he finish with? He was 10 of 14, 2 of 2 from 3, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. There you go. Because I was like, Benedict Mathurin was really the one that stuck out to me. Of course, Tyrese had a pretty good game. He was more of a shooter tonight than, again, he only had 1 assist. So, yeah, definitely Tyrese didn't have the ball, wasn't on ball as much as what he typically is. But, yeah, I thought Mathurin had a great game. I thought Buddy, funny enough, had a really good game. He always seems to be he always kind of seems to be up for playing the Kings, which I'm sure his team and all the fans definitely notice. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about Kessler Edwards because I don't think I'm gonna have time to go all the way in on everybody. Trey obviously had a great night tonight. 4 of 5, 3 of 4 from 3, 13 points, 3 boards for Trey Lyles. Trey Bay stand up. We know what it is. That's a everyday Trey Lyles stat line. Kessler Edwards tonight though made a huge impact. Usually Kessler is kind of reserved for end of quarter situations, and tonight he got legitimate rotational minutes. He played to start the second quarter. And really, I mean, if you paid attention to or watched the post game broadcast when they had Malik Monk on, he shouted out Kessler and said, it was a bunch of stuff that doesn't really show up on the box score. He had 4 rebounds today, 0 points. If you were to just look at that, you probably wouldn't notice what he did, but he had 2 steals. I'm excited to look. I don't know if NBA.com has the deflections. They don't have the deflection there yet, but if I had to guess, Kessler Edwards had at least 3 deflections. It felt like he was super active in just 14 minutes. And that was really the Kessler Edwards that we saw a lot of last year. It kind of became a meme, but it was like the Kings didn't do anything at the deadline. They did bring in Kessler Edwards. And funny enough, everybody at the deadline was like, he's probably not going to play. Even I was like, I honestly wasn't familiar at all with Kessler's game when they did trade for him. And, it was viewed as, this is just a 14th guy on the bench. This is just a reclamation project, or not really reclamation, but this is just a flyer on a young guy. And unexpectedly, Kessler Edwards played a ton of games for this team last year, and it looked a lot like what we saw tonight. He really did not have any intentions of shooting the basketball offensively, which is not a problem. But it was really when he's playing with Davion Mitchell out there as well, because Sabonis and Monk kind of have the ball a lot when those 2 guys are out there as well. And so you kind of have 2 non-shooters spotting up. it was a little bit tough, but I thought Kessler did a great job of, negating that by being so effective on defense. And I wouldn't mind seeing Kessler Edwards if, I think there's definitely going to be some form of rotational piece brought in during the deadline, but I would not mind if Kessler Edwards gets more minutes in the second half of the season or in the post All-Star break of this season, because we saw it last year. You don't need to play him 25, 30 minutes, but if you give him 8 to 15 minutes in a game, I'm not saying in a playoff game right now, but if you can use him as a regular season body, and he'll do some things for sure that impact winning. And I thought tonight he pretty much everything he did was all winning plays, not really things again that show up in the box score. Didn't record a single shot, didn't take a free throw or anything. But if you watch the game tonight, you notice Kessler Edwards, and you definitely saw how he impacted the result of tonight, even if it was just with his energy. Yeah. Mathurin again. Yeah. Mathurin really just was on one. Good question. Will I be able to do Kings post game during Super Bowl week? I don't believe so. I know Brendan Nunez will be doing it on Wednesday for sure. Friday, I'm not entirely sure about. I know our flight home is actually on Friday. So for that Nuggets game, I might be able to do it. It kind of honestly depends on what time my flight gets in and how much of the game I'm able to watch. So Brendan Nunez will definitely hold it down on Wednesday for the first game back from the road trip against Detroit. That'll also be the day before the trade deadline. So I'm sure that'll be a really, really good one. Definitely don't want to miss out those ones. So even if you don't see my face, definitely you 100% will want to be tuning into those ones on Wednesday. As again, for those who aren't aware, the NBA trade deadline is next Thursday. We are less than a week away from the NBA trade deadline. It's Thursday at noon Pacific. So, take an early lunch or whatever. You're going to want to be by your phones. Really, I mean, you're honestly going to want to be on your phones the entire morning. You're probably going to wake up to some crazy trade news. But yeah, definitely going to want to check that out. Tighter rotations. Yes, he did have tighter rotations. He ran 9 tonight, but we're seeing, JaVale didn't play. He didn't play any of his bigs tonight. Didn't play JaVale, didn't play Alex Len either. Played Trey in that backup center. I like it. I really, really like it. I know he probably only did it because Indy didn't have their normal big men out there, and so Mike probably felt like he was safe by going Trey. But I just think in more times than not, this team should lean with running small and playing Trey Lyles at the 5. I just think that's a lot better for this team. Feed the beam those purple socks. I know that commercial freaks me out. I'm not the biggest fan of that commercial. Plus, it makes me feel like they're trying to take purple out of the logo or like out of the organization. I want to like put a tinfoil hat and do like a deep dive on that, because I feel like they're slowly trying to wean us into not noticing that purple is slowly fading out of the Kings color scheme. Davion did have a few good plays tonight. Offensively, he was not really good tonight. He missed 2 threes. He had a weird, the other shot he missed was like it was either a drive or was in transition. And he's kind of, he was hesitant. I've talked about it in the past, but he just kind of, sometimes he'll drive or dribble and not really know not have a plan before he puts the ball on the ground, and that gets him in trouble. But I ultimately would say he played positively tonight. What was he? He was he's a -1 in the box score, which was surprising. I'm surprised they lost those minutes. But Davion played 16 minutes tonight, which is definitely more than what I probably would have expected if you would have told me he was going to play. I feel like, a lot of the times it feels like he's getting 12 max. And so for him to get 16, I think is positive for sure. And I have no idea. I can't tell you if Davion's going to be in the rotation post trade deadline. Because honestly, who knows? This definitely could just be a bit of posturing or them trying to show that he's still a player. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yes, 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 yes. We have tons of guests lined up. Uh, I will probably come out more with them next week, but I can see if I can give you a preview of some guests that we have booked. It's going to be really, really cool. Yeah, there are a couple of people are complaining about the refs tonight. I yeah, didn't get the call. It was interesting. It was definitely interesting. The refs were letting them play, and at the end of the game, that was so weird. It looked to me like Indiana was trying to foul certain players. Like they had Sabonis had the ball and they pretty much grabbed him. De'Aaron had the ball and they lunged at him and they didn't call it. And if I were Indiana, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, excuse me, I'm trying to foul these 70 below percent free throw shooters. Can we please send these guys to the line so we can win this game? Because the Kings have a lot more confidence in themselves to hit free throws than I do. Because they were being real casual with just passing that ball around like they're all 80+% free throw shooters. And I'm like, Kevin Huerter missed a technical free throw today. He's fired. Malik, I don't think did Malik miss a free throw today? I don't think he did. No, he missed 2 of them. Yeah, Malik missed 2 of them. He's fired. De'Aaron was 2 of 6 from the line tonight, fired. So how does Sabonis? I feel like every time I look at this recently, Sabonis is the guy. Oh my, HB 0 of 2 from the free throw line. Sabonis seems to be the guy who ends up having the highest percentage, which is so weird. And I think that this is a problem, obviously, but I don't know how they fix this. Like, there's no way they're gonna trade for somebody at the deadline and then all of a sudden he just yells at them and says, "Hey, we should shoot better free throws." And they're like, "We haven't tried that." I just they're the worst free throw shooting team in the league, and I think that we all just need to accept that that's the reality of the situation, and expecting them to be better is kind of pointless. It's kind of pointless because they've shown us who they are, and I think at this point we should just count for it. We should just bank it in. And I think that this team should just try and avoid free throws and in clutch free throws and all that is as much as possible. The Kings do play in Chicago tomorrow. I do have to wrap this thing up, unfortunately, really soon here. I have a family dinner I got to get to, which I'm already late to, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to have to get out of here quickly, but we're going to do the 3 stars on the night, and then we're going to preview Chicago and get out of here. 3 stars, as you can see down there. I'm going to give my 1 star. I'm going to give my honorary star. Half. We did a whole spiel on Kessler earlier, but if we're talking about impact or how the Kings won today, it feels like Kessler Edwards has to at least be given some sort of mention, because I feel like his energy in that second quarter and his effort really was the start of them locking down defensively. And, at the end of the game there, they made it a lot closer than it needed to be. But I feel like if people can just kind of use, because I really do think the biggest thing that Kessler did today was just give them energy and kind of in a weird way lead by example. And I think that stuff is contagious. And if they can just somehow manifest that stuff without having to have some incredibly hungry 12th guy off the bench come in and show them what defensive effort looks like, that would be great. Because if they could just start the game with that kind of defensive effort and intensity, I feel like they would have a lot less stressful games in their life. What was the last time the Kings just had a easy wire to wire victory? Like truly easy wire to wire. Because even that Dallas game, they were up big and then they made it close. Golden State was close the whole time. I guess Atlanta right? Atlanta was easy. I'm looking at the final score, unless I'm misremembering. That was pretty easy. Charlotte, and even that Pistons win, they were down big in that first quarter. Feels like it's been a while. Feels like it's been a while. So yeah, first star is going to Malik Monk. This is mainly just because we've talked about it a couple days in a row, and or a couple games in a row now. Malik has struggled. He has been on the struggle bus. 5 of his last 6 games, he's had under double digits. Hasn't had over 13 points in his last 8 games. And tonight, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Just hopefully it's him getting back into a rhythm. We saw him slump. I mean, it has been longer than just 8 games. It's been pretty much for the entirety of the month of January. It's okay because I think he had a very large weight on his shoulders carrying this team. Him and De'Aaron really carried this team for the first 25 games. And I think it was kind of natural. Malik did a similar thing last year where in the middle of the season, he really kind of slowed down. And I think now is really the time to peak. Last year, De'Aaron and Malik were the 2 best players in their best game post trade or post All-Star break. That Clippers game, that was De'Aaron and Malik, who both had over 40. And that was really the time where you kind of saw them pick it back up. And kind of feels like this year is going on a similar schedule where Malik definitely started off the year hot, and I think we've seen him kind of cool down, really, again, these past 2 to 3 weeks. And it feels like this could hopefully be the start of the ascension again. 2 stars going to Harrison Barnes, who, much like Malik Monk, has been in a slump more just these past 2 games. Of course, the entire season, really. But we saw him have 3 straight great games in the HB Revenge Tour, but it's been bad since. And tonight he was on. He was really aggressive. He continues to take a ton of shots, especially for him. Took 14 tonight, 7 of those from 3. Just knocked him down. I mean, it's crazy how it really does feel like the biggest difference from this game and that Miami game was just he made his shots. Because he was so off in Miami, and he was really bad in Memphis too, if I'm not mistaken. But if he's hitting, it just looks so much better, and he looks so much more confident. And that's the guy that they need. And you see, if anybody's keeping up with all the trade reports, apparently HB is more likely, it sounds, to stay post trade deadline. So it sounds like we should get used to having HB and hoping that HB's getting comfortable, and this is a role that he can settle into, and he's kind of figured out how to maximize his touches at this point. And 3 stars, like I said, is going to Domantas Sabonis. I just thought, with that environment and with the All-Star snubbing, I was looking for a big game, and he gave it to me. 26 points. Finishes. They changed the stat line on me. 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 offensive rebounds, 2 steals and a block, 4 turnovers. Shout out Crown Royal, 4 turnovers, and only 3 fouls for Domas. And anytime you're going to have a big night, anytime you put yourself 1 game away from breaking the double-double streak, you got to give that man his flowers. And even though it wasn't anything special or super spectacular, not something that we haven't seen before from Domantas Sabonis, as is always kind of the theme with Domas, we cannot just overlook these performances. We cannot just take these for granted and just say, oh, this is what he always does, because this is not normal. 26, 11, and 7. That'll raise his points per game now over 20. He should stay he might drop under 13 rebounds, but for him to essentially be at 20, 13, and 7, or 8, at an 8, 20, 13, and 8 for a season on like 60% from the field, it's insane. Nobody does this. I'm pretty sure the 2013 8 on 60% is not even done by Wilt Chamberlain. So we're talking about just crazy numbers that this guy is putting up. And I would say he had a slow start to the season, but I think at this point he's been this team's MVP through this year. De'Aaron had a crazy start, but I think at this point Domas has been consistent just about every single night. And he's just he's dominating everybody. It'll be interesting to see, let me look at the next time you could really say he's going to go against a really, I mean, the Kings have 3 games against the Nuggets by the end of this month. They will play the Nuggets 3 more times. So I guess those Jokic matchups will really be the true stamp for this guy is out of control. Because if he continues to put up these numbers, I'm looking at it. Yeah, Chicago, I said Vucevic, but he's not really a defensive issue. Detroit, Jalen Duren, we've already seen Domantas Sabonis kill him. Then you have a Nuggets matchup. We've seen Sabonis kill Chet Holmgren in the Thunder. The Suns have Nurkic. We've seen that movie. Then it's the Nuggets again. Wemby is going to get destroyed. Clippers, I mean, they have Zubac and Plumlee, I guess. That could be a difficult matchup. Miami, we just saw Sabonis kill Bam. Then it's Denver again. And then March 1st is actually a really good matchup for him going against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, this I think that Domantas Sabonis domination is going to be here for a while, but it's going to be really interesting. And the true moments where we can appreciate how ridiculous he is coming up soon, because those Denver matchups, they're going to need Sabonis to be at his A game in those. And, it's going to be tough to pretty much cross out what Jokic does. But if anybody can pretty much match number for number what Jokic brings, it's Domantas Sabonis. So looking forward to that one. And, of course, looking forward to tomorrow. Sorry there. Looking forward to tomorrow's game in Chicago against the Bulls. Of course, the Bulls aren't the best team in the NBA. Let me see where they fall in the standings. I believe they're in the Eastern Conference play-in watch right now. They're not the best team, not the scariest team, but is a team that has some deadly weapons. Colby White, oh my goodness, for y'all who have not watched Chicago Bulls, who are 9th. They are 23-26. They're 9th in the East right now. Wow, Orlando has slipped. Orlando's 8th in the East right now. But yeah, Chicago, Colby White has been incredible this year. We've seen him kill the Kings before. Zach LaVine, of course, is back from injury. He's been playing really well. DeMar DeRozan is still an absolute bucket, and Nikola Vucevic is a load down in the paint. So, Chicago's got talent, and Kings are going to have to try and play some defense because they've got a lot of bucket getters, but they like to play a little bit slower. So the Kings have to be efficient, have to make their shots, and they should walk away with a W tomorrow. Because let's be honest, Chicago shouldn't be a team that gives this team problems. So I'm expecting a win tomorrow. I will hopefully be talking to you guys tomorrow after said win. And that'll be it for tonight. Y'all have a fantastic night. I will see you tomorrow after the Kings take on the Bulls. Light the beam.